It is independent of the material process, but yet it can act upon the material process.
Now let's discuss that a little. You see,
yes, be careful. We mustn't enter into the Holy Spirit.
No. But not going to science. Generally speaking, in science, if A can act in B, there's usually a reciprocal action of B on A. We don't find situations where A acts on B and B never acts on A.
I see.
This is one of the difficulties that will be raised.
Right? But B can act on A.
Yeah, but we don't find this elsewhere. You see, we generally find that if B acts on A, then A can act on B, you see. In human relations, if I can act on you, you can act on me, right?
Yes. But if I don't act, if I don't say, we say human relationship interaction.
Yeah, it's mutual relationship.
Mutual relationship. In that relationship, there is response and so on. Now, if I don't respond to your action, I am independent of you.
Yes. Yes, I think that if we're trying to make this clear in science, science generally finds that this situation is not possible to have a one-sided action.
Quite, I understand. I understood it. So we are continually insisting that the material process must have a relationship to...
Well, an action, we'd rather use... See, relationship is an ambiguous word here. If you said action, it would be more clear.
All right. What is it? The material process...
Must be able to act.
Must be able to act on the non-material, and the non-material must act on the material.
Yes, but that would make them both the same.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Not necessarily. You see, I asked, could one envision maybe that insight is a much larger movement than the material process of the brain. And therefore that much larger movement can act on the smaller movement. But the smaller movement cannot act on the larger movement.
Well, yes.
Yes. That's what we are saying, the same thing.
Well, that's why the small movement has no significant action on the large movement. Like you can have a situation if you drop a rock in the ocean, the ocean absorbs it with no significant...
That's right.
Quite.
So then they would still have an action among themselves, but there's only one action that is significant.
No, don't be careful. I don't want to enter into that too quickly. So, love has no relationship to hate.
But again, it's the word relationship. You see that
action.
Would you say hate has no action on love?
No, they are independent.
Independent. They have no action on each other. Right.
This is important to discover this. Love is independent of hate. Where there is hate, the other cannot exist. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, they can't stand side by side acting on each other.
No, they can't.
No.
So when you scientists say A must have a relation to B, B must have a relation to A, right? Yeah. We are contradicting that. Love is...
Well, not all scientists have said that, but of course, a few have said otherwise. If you, I don't like to bring in Aristotle, but he said there's an unmoved mover. You see, that is, he says that God is never moved by matter. He's not acted on by matter, but he acts. Do you see? So
Yeah.
that's an old idea then, that there is, see, since that time scientists threw
Well,
out
it's an old Indian idea too.
They threw out Aristotle, you see, and said that's impossible.
Now, if I see clearly that love, independent of hate, hate cannot possibly act on love. Love may act on hate.
Right.
Or where hate is, the other cannot be.
Well, those are two possibilities. Which are you saying?
What are the two possibilities?
Well, you said one is love may act on hate, or the other is they have no action at all on each other.
Yes.
Now, which?
Oh, I understand. No, sir. Love cannot act on hate.
Right. They have no relationship.
No.
But perhaps insight could, you see.
I'm going slowly,
Yes.
I'm moving, edging our way into
Yes.
Sorry, I've had
Sorry.
a cold. Very interesting, isn't it? Mm. Sorry. Here it is. I want to be quite clear on this point. Violence and to be without violence are two entirely different factors, right?
Right.
The one cannot act upon the other.
No, well, in that case, you could say the existence of the one is the non-existence of the other.
Yes.
And there's no way to act together.
That's right.
They cannot be there together.
Absolutely. I'll stick to that. So, where there is this material process in action, the other cannot exist.
Well, then you're going to say that about what is the other this time? Insight or?
Yes, yes.
But then that sounds as if insight cannot change that material process.
Huh?
Well, that denies what we were saying before, that there is an action from insight to the material process.
Now steady.
Yeah.
Yes. If violence, where there is violence, the other is not. Right? The non-violence, I hate to use that for non-violence. Whatever the idea.
Well, peace.
Huh?
Peace.
Peace.
Well, I know. I mean, order, harmony, right?
Yeah. Where there is violence, peace cannot exist. But where there is peace, is there violence? No, of course not. Huh?
No.
So, peace is independent of the other.
Yes.
Now we are always saying the material process being independent of insight
Well, we didn't say that. We said it might depend on insight.
Yeah, suppose I'm saying, suppose for the moment, independent of insight, then insight cannot act.
No, that's true, yes.
On the other.
If that's the case, right?
If that is the case.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let me take a breather.
Right, take a rest, yeah.
Just
we'll just rest a little while.
What?
I say we'll rest a little while.
Would you like a glass of water?
No, thanks. Just, I know, it's just...
So not to discuss, but you've said so many times that intelligence can act upon thought. Insight can affect thought, but it doesn't work the other way around. You've said this in
Yes.
many forms.
Well, ignorance and intelligence. If intelligence can wipe away ignorance,
That's clear,
but
yes.
ignorance cannot
Touch.
touch intelligence, right?
Right.
Where there is love, hate can never exist, right?
Well, as long as there is love, then.
Yes, I'm saying that.
Yes.
But if can love wipe away hate?
Well, that we said that doesn't seem to be possible. I mean,
It doesn't seem possible.
because that hate seems to be an independent force.
Of course, of course it is. Sorry, just carry on 2 minutes.
Is there a question of volume then?
What?
Is there a question of volume? In other words, if love can't wipe away hate, can there be enough units of love to supplant hate?
Well, I don't know. Right? No,
I mean, well, that's what I'm saying. Are we talking about a physical possibility?
Well, I think that hate goes on its own independently.
I come back, sir.
Right. You know, that it isn't it has its own momentum, you see, its own force of movement, self-movement.
I don't quite get the relationship with this love and hate, independence, with this other discussion of insight.
Well, that's right. That's what we've been trying to get at. You see, that there seems to be
two different
two
areas.
different areas.
It's an exploration.
Yeah.
Thought is a movement, and insight seems to be a non-movement, where everything seemingly is at rest and it can observe movement.
Yes. Well, that's what we're trying to get at. I mean, the notion of something which is not affected by anything else. You know.
Or anything else can affect it.
But aren't we then saying, though, if we look at this love-hate thing, aren't we then in essence saying there's good and there's evil, and evil is a completely separate, independent force on its own, of its own?
Well, it's independent of good. You see that.
But I mean,
But is it a process in the mind, or is it related to insight? Love and hate.
Well, we're coming to that. You see that.
We're at the place of light and dark. The light appears, the darkness is gone.
Yeah.
We don't know where it's going.
but in a way, it's just like a pattern of duality, then, isn't it? When we say there's good and there's evil, and they're completely separate, and one is completely independent from
Well,
the
one
other.
where one is the other, where one is the other can't be. You see, that's all we're saying. So.
Oh, I see.
There's no relationship.
No.
Do you mean in a single brain?
In any brain, yeah, or in any group, or anywhere. Well, wherever there's hate going on in the group, there's not love, right?
Sir, I just thought of something.
Okay.
Not thought of it, I just came to my mind. Love has no cause. Right?
Right.
Hate has a cause.
Yeah.
Insight has no cause.